Industry Inner Join, uplifting data literacy across Australia and bringing conversations from data leaders straight to your ears. Get the insider information. My name is Douglas, former data analyst, now founder of BI Analysts Recruitment, and we're about to hear from one data leader.
Very good.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Welcome, Jacob Gemcutter Analytics Hammer, to Industry Inner Join, the second podcast episode.
Is this only number 2?
This is only number 2.
All right. Well, I'm honoured to be here.
Welcome on board.
Yeah.
Founder of Gemcutter Analytics, former business analyst, contractor, now running the business.
Mm-hmm.
We want to hear all about you today. Tell us a little bit about that journey and who you are.
All right. Well, Jake the Hammer. Yeah, sure. I started Gemcutter Analytics 4.5 years ago now, having been an analyst in management consulting originally, and then went into industry as senior business analyst, commercial analyst, all those sorts of positions. Excuse me. I found that everybody came to me as the data guy. It was, can you fix this Excel spreadsheet? Can you do this graph for me? Can you put this thing together in PowerPoint? Can you run these numbers? Can you integrate this data sources or whatever? And it wasn't until I owned that, and I was like, I kind of had this realization that like everybody comes to me for this stuff. Like maybe I should just do that. So that's what I did. And everything really started to shift towards building my own business when I started at Monadelphous a good few years ago now, where Power BI was kind of this new thing, and a sort of friend and mentor of mine was working at Monos at the time and said, hey, Jake, you're pretty smart. Do you want to come in and figure out this Power BI thing for us? And I was like, yeah, sure. No worries. And so during my notice period at my previous employer, I got up to speed on the tools and sort of figured out Power BI, which was such a shame because had I known then at where I was working, I could have really used Power BI as an absolute. It would have been amazing for them, but they come back around down the track.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So jumped into Monadelphous, jumped into Power BI, sort of loved it straight away. It was kind of exactly what I was looking for in terms of having been the data guy and then having this interactive dashboarding analytical tool that I could integrate data sources and build out some really cool insights and dashboards. It was really the perfect fit for me. And so I just owned that for a good couple of years at Monos. We created some really great results in their asset management team. And kind of towards the end of my time there, I was looking at starting my own business, or at least going out and freelancing or contracting for a bit. My firstborn son was 6 months old, so he'd just been born. We'd just gotten through the back end of COVID. My wife and I had been lucky enough to save a bit of money through that period, so we had a little bit of a cushion. Not a huge amount, but enough to be like, okay, this is maybe worth a shot. And with Hugo, only 6 months old, I was kind of staring down the barrel of a single corporate salary, stay-at-home wife, mortgage, like all of that, and thinking that's not going to be a very fun time going forward. So it was kind of a now and ever moment, really.
Mm. Was that Mono's a contract role? That was a full-time?
That was a full-time employee role,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And what was the transition like to full-time to either contracts or business entity?
So I knew I wanted to do it, and sort of 6 months out, I started posting on LinkedIn quite consistently. And through that, I just got a few little sort of side hustle gigs, doing a few things for some smaller clients here and there, which sort of gave me the confidence that, okay, there's probably a market for this beyond what I'm doing. And it got to a point where I sort of had enough on the side that I could probably be okay. And then also working at Monos, and then I had to be really transparent with them, said, look, this is what I've been wanting to do for ages, and the time's kind of come. There will be a point where I resign, but could you help me work through it? And I was just really open and honest with them, and they were really great, actually. They said, look, put your resignation in, and we'll sort of aim for 6 weeks notice or so. If you need a bit more or a bit less, whatever, we'll kind of work together, but, we can help you exit the business into your own thing. So that was really nice. And I think that whole being open and upfront in the beginning was really helped me.
Mm.
Which you've got to have the right manager for that, I suppose. But in my case, I was.
You've got to come to the party as transparent as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
And then, the day I quit, I remember I took a photo crossing the crosswalk. So in Vic Park, there's the bus station there. And I was crossing the crosswalk to go over to Monadelphous, and I took a photo of my last day and tomorrow step out on my own, and super excited and da-da-da. And like that post got so much love and so many comments and so much reach that kind of the next day, Monday, I was like had multiple people to reach out to and opportunities and all sorts of stuff.
Mm.
One of them being BGC, which was where I was before Monadelphous.
Mm-hmm.
And they called me and said, well, hey, you know all this Power BI stuff and you know our business back to front. Do you want to come in and do some work for us?
Mm-hmm.
And then the general manager, he was really great there at the time. And he said, look, it's coming to the end of the financial year. I need to spend some budget on consulting hours. I'm going to prepay you. I don't remember how many hours it was, but it was a really nice amount to prepay so that then I had this big cash injection, which then was like, the business was up and running. It was like, okay, we're on.
And were you doing that as a 20 hours per week for a few different clients, or how did you structure that?
I couldn't even remember, I can tell you, but I guess it was probably 3 or 4 clients and just hourly rates with everybody, sort of doing what I can for who I could. And then sort of referrals started to come in, and meanwhile still posting on LinkedIn and reaching out, and I joined a couple of business coaching kind of groups which helped me do LinkedIn outreach when LinkedIn outreach worked.
It's a changing world out there.
Yeah,
it's a changing
that's
world.
right.
I hear you just post memes and it gets
that's
responses.
right. That's how you do it.
And you can explain where Gemcutter sits now, who you serve, what you do. What does it look like today after that beginning?
Yeah, so after that, I mean, I contracted for probably a good couple of years, just bouncing between clients. And then it got to a point where I'm like, I really need some help. So enough clients on the books where I hired Cedric, who's my first employee, still with us, as kind of someone to just help me with the easier stuff. Like, I don't know, I've got some Power Query thing or a data reference page or something like that. And he got up to speed quite quickly on that, which was good, freed me up a bit. Then I hired Curtis as a principal analyst, where I'm like, I need a Jake 2.0. So he was quite a risk, I guess, to take because he's a senior guy. A risk for him as well. He was coming out of corporate. So it took multiple interviews for me to get him across the line because he was, pardon the swear word, but I guess shitting himself as well to be like, I'm going to leave WestTrac and come and join this little tiny 2-person startup thing. But he's come along and he's really helped to grow the team and build Gemcutter to where it is today, which is a team of 7. And we're developing Power BI and dashboard solutions for mostly mid-size companies. Like that seems to be where our sweet spot has become, where they're too small to not need, or too small to have their own data analytics teams or even in-house analysts, but too big to not need it. So they've got multiple different systems. They probably haven't invested in a NAV or Business Central or, all singing, dancing ERP, but they've got Xero and Employment Hero and Pipedrive and a whole bunch of different things that they need to integrate to get reporting out of.
And what does a typical project look like now, or engagement for Gemcutter?
Yeah, we typically only work on retainer now because we find that we might start with, say, finance in a business.
What does retainer mean for everyone?
Oh, it means they it's just a fixed monthly fee for our services. They engage the firm and it's just ongoing. Yeah. And I say that because we find that a lot of companies will start in one area, like finance, for instance, and then they'll want HR, they want people and culture, they want assets, operations, maintenance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, before you know it, 2 or 3 years have passed and there isn't an area of the business we haven't touched, which gives them full visibility across everything that's going on in their operations, which we found has been huge in terms of not only just operational decision making, but also from a valuation perspective. In that, if that business is looking to be acquired or sold at some point, the risk is significantly reduced from a potential buyer's perspective because they can see all the numbers, they can see the effectiveness of the management team, they can see that it's a great company, and that company's just got everything they need to manage themselves effectively.
And in that journey from analyst to I guess, straight into business, but contracting to 7-person team.
Mm-hmm.
What was the most challenging moment along the way?
Probably there's a couple inflection points, I guess. One is a first employee, like taking that step was a big step because it's like, oh, it's this big unknown commitment. I've got annual leave to worry about, and I've got employment contracts, and I've got, I don't know, workers' compensation and like all sorts of stuff. And it's like, oh, well, this person comes and works for me. I have to pay them whether I have work or not. Like, yeah, for me, that was probably the biggest kind of risk. But I look back on it now and I think, oh, that was actually not that hard. Like, you know,
why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah, that's right. And I probably there was this whole fear around it not working out or whatever. But I mean, it's been good, I think. And then the next difficult or challenging point has probably been the last 6 to 12 months where we've gotten to that 6, 7, 8. We sort of fluctuated around there, and it's how do we then get to the next level where I guess start to hit more scale. I suppose.
What does that next level look like? Is it more clients, more people?
I mean, I'd love to double the team from here in Perth, and then maybe look at some satellite offices over east or something like that. But I'm very much kind of just, I guess, surrendering to what happens and just serving the moment that comes along, and you know, that's maybe my intention, but I will just see how it unfolds.
Market conditions, but I can bet you're doing everything to build it as well at the same time.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Going into BI, Power BI, data analytics.
Yeah.
What do you see as what makes a standout BI analyst and someone that's very good for, say, in your team, or if you're hiring, or if you meet someone that's working for a company?
Probably two things. One is they ask lots of questions, like this innate curiosity and willingness to try and understand something. Like, we have worked with industries as diverse as childcare to gyms to avocado packing. Like, and yeah, some of the principles are the same between each of those, but you have to understand each of those industries inside out. So you need to be very, very curious and ask lots of questions to understand what is the data that you're looking at and seeing, and then also how do you interpret that data, and then how do you make it useful for someone who's managing a business that you know nothing about. Well, you should know something about, and you know, once you've asked all those questions, right? And then the other thing is to be a very, very good communicator in terms of setting expectations, clear progress, and I don't think any analyst cannot communicate enough to their stakeholders, especially when you're dealing with things like BI that can be a bit messy. You can give that first pass dashboard or calculations and it doesn't quite validate to what you thought it would, or doesn't look quite right, or it doesn't give the insight that you think it would. It's a really iterative process. And so you need to be able to communicate so that clients or stakeholders, employers, whatever, are brought on the journey with you, so that even if a few mistakes are made along the way and it doesn't quite add up, or it doesn't quite work, or you have a few issues with data sources or whatever, that once you get there, everybody has confidence in the result.
They've been on the journey, you've communicated the journey.
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny you mentioned curiosity, questions, and communication, both non-technical skills as well. How much emphasis do you put on the technical skills?
Ironically, very little. Like, we do have a technical test as a part of our interview process, but one of our best employees that we've ever had, I hope she won't mind me mentioning her name, but Sophia, she came in with zero Power BI experience, but she picked it up really quickly, and she had those two qualities in spades. And clients loved working with her. She was a great team member. She was an absolute powerhouse. And even though, she lacked the technical understanding, she didn't know SQL and Power BI and data warehouse and blah, blah, blah. That was almost irrelevant. She picked it up quickly because she was curious and she could learn. And then, the other stuff made her a really great analyst.
If I'm a budding analyst or BI developer, how would you recommend I go about learning and upskilling to get to that curious phase and also communication skill phase?
Yeah. It's a good question because it can be difficult if you're not, I guess, already like that. Like there's a bit of a nature thing as well, I think. But if you're not, my suggestion would be to have coffees with lots of people, like, and just ask about them. It doesn't even have to be analytics related. You could just be, tell me about your career, tell me about your business, tell me about your hobbies. Just be interested in other people from a curiosity perspective.
I think Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but
right.
that's a really great book.
Yeah.
But one of the key quotes in there is be interested, not interesting.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
So you would say go out, meet more people. Is it networking events? Is it in their own, maybe where they're working at their own place?
Yeah, both, like all of it. Like, yeah, whether it's networking, I mean, even if you're in a large company, you could very much probably just walk out your office or your desk and walk down the hall and just make friends with everybody along the way and ask them, hey, what do you do with your, tell me about your role, tell me what you're up to, what do you look after, what do you care about, like, and even that in itself, especially if you do it in your career, will open up opportunities for you to add value along the way.
Yeah, what do you do if you're the person that the stereotypical data analyst is not going to fit into that category? So how would you push into that, do you think? Is it taking the leap, like stepping into the fear? Is it Toastmasters? Is it networking events?
I mean, it is very much stepping into the fear, whatever that means for you, right? I think that's something that you need to discover for yourself as to how you do that. I mean, Toastmasters, I'm sure, would be a great thing. We put Cedric through Toastmasters. He got a lot out of it. Yeah, but I mean, there's a bazillion things. Go to an inner join networking event.
Go to a networking event, everybody. Yes.
Yeah. Have chats with people there.
Number one way.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, the emphasis on communication. I hear that a lot, especially it's a senior data analyst role. Half of the role is going to be stakeholder communication.
Yeah.
Less so of can you build a beautiful dashboard. It's what's in that dashboard that you've got from that stakeholder.
I'd argue even if you did build a beautiful dashboard without any communication, it's probably going to miss the mark because you didn't actually be curious about what the stakeholder needs. So yeah, like might look amazing, but they're going to be like, well, you don't actually understand my world, so thanks, but that's not useful.
If I was a data analyst and wanted to do a project, how would I bring in that communication piece, do you think? Because there's plenty of data sets I can go and make up or go and look at, say, Synergy or Electricity WA and bring in that data for free. But how do you bring in that communication piece? Do you make a fake stakeholder? Do you have coffee with someone and ask them about something and visualize it?
I mean, I suppose you if you're starting from absolute zero, like, yeah, you could probably make a fake stakeholder in ChatGPT, for instance, and ask it questions. Say, you are blah, blah, and then, like, that'll get you started. But that's not in real life. Like, I would suggest, if that's the case, get some data from Synergy. Yeah, build something, make it interesting, and then go and talk to people about it. Say, hey, I built this thing. Would you be interested in having a look? I'd love to get your feedback because I think it's interesting. Here are some of the insights that I found. And that'll just be a great icebreaker to reach out to people in industry and potentially get some feedback and get those skills in. But of course, you've still got to step into that fear because there's a fear of rejection. What if they don't like it? What if it's crap? Blah 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 blah. Like, but that's life. You gotta push through that.
That's the journey.
Yeah.
You mentioned ChatGPT. How do you think AI is influencing what BI means today? Is it going to continue to be Power BI reporting, or will there be large language models we interact with? What do you think it's going to look like?
I mean, it's hard to know, right? Like, and that's the question on everybody's mind at the moment. I mean, Microsoft are no dummies, right? They're going to be doing something in the space, and already you can talk to Power BI and ask it to bring in insights and things like that through Copilot and whatnot. I think there will eventually come a point where you can just load your data sets into a model somewhere and say, hey, build me a sales dashboard, with these and it'll be able to do it. And then there's already some things that are along that way, like, on that journey already. Some tools like, of course it escapes me now. I think it's called Julius is one, and another one is Onvo.
We'll fact check those.
Yeah, please fact check.
He was lying the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
He's making up these tools.
Yeah. But you need to have really well structured data And like AI, these models work great when you've got a flat file, but the moment you try to bring in different data sources and integrate things in different ways, it just falls over and dies.
Do you see Gemcutter in the future state, or even just BI teams in companies stepping into that and maybe playing more of the data quality, data engineering, that BI guider part? Or do you think there'll always be dashboards?
I think so. I mean, I think you'll still always be hamstrung by, like, there'll still always be people who are industry experts. So like I say, I don't know, a CFO or a engineer or operations manager or whatever who, like we see many of our clients, right? They're a truck driver that just worked their way up and now are an operations manager. Like, they're not a technical person necessarily. Like, I think they still need a steward or a guide in that space to be able to help them understand what's going on with the data. I think if you were to say, here's an AI model, you can ask it whatever questions you like, go nuts. They're going to be like, okay, great. What was my cents per kilometre last month? And then AI might bring some number back, but can you trust it? How's he going to validate it? Or they're going to validate it? Like, I think there's that challenge there. I think there's always going to be a spot for an analyst to form that bridge between data and operations.
And how much
data and decision making?
You mentioned a bit of domain knowledge there. Like, if you have been in the seat of a truck and now you're looking at the operations for the fleet, how much do you think domain knowledge is? How important do you think domain knowledge is for a data analyst role or BI developer?
I think it's like a turbocharger. Like, it's definitely I don't think you need it to necessarily have a good career. Like, I haven't ever attached myself to one particular industry, although I do love working with mining contracting and equipment hire and a few civil construction, civil engineering, like, because I know those industries really well now. But like I said, if you're a data analyst and you've hopped around a few different companies or industries, pick one that you are really good at, because then the value add is significantly more. Like, I met with a new potential client the other day in the equipment hire industry, and they're like, well, given you know equipment hire inside out, like, it's almost an easy yes, as opposed to someone who doesn't, because they know what you've worked on before, what you're looking for. You can look at their data and be like, oh, okay, let's look at your fleet age profile, let's look at your utilization, let's look at your aged assets on standby, or whatever it might be. And immediately you can bring insights to the table that they don't have to think of and that they may have never even thought of.
One step ahead of them.
Yeah.
And how do you cultivate domain knowledge without being in the domain before you get into it? Because everyone starts somewhere. You started with, whether it's BGC for the domain knowledge.
Yeah.
How would someone cultivate that knowledge as they're looking to go into, say, a role, or even exploring the job market as a graduate, say?
As a graduate, I mean,
it's
like
more so
different. Haven't ever worked in industry.
A change of industry. So if I've always been in insurance with HBF or RAC, how do I start to go into mining? If I want to, if I'm locked out of mining because I don't have mining experience, and the same would be for a fresh graduate. You don't have mining experience or data experience. How do you get that domain knowledge?
Well, I mean, thankfully you've got AI now that can accelerate that. And I would say, if that's what you're pursuing and you're looking to make that change, ask ChatGPT or whatever the models are to develop some fake data sets for you in those industries and build some dashboards or do some analysis or whatever it might be, and then use that as a part of your CV to then go into this new industry.
Lead with that as like a project, do you mean?
Yeah, and then use that as an opportunity to be curious around, hey, I built this thing. Could you give me some feedback? I'm curious to know if this is on the right track. Like, I looked at, I don't know, excavator tons. I thought it might be interesting.
Yeah, awesome. If in the past you've interviewed a lot of people as well, there's some folk here that are looking at jobs or maybe going through interview processes as well. What stood out when you've interviewed someone that you remember where you go, this person was great, or this was really good?
They asked me lots of questions. They were curious and they communicated well.
And from the technical side, you mentioned you have a technical assessment?
Yeah, we do have a technical assessment. I think, again, it was the same thing. Like, I'm not looking for the best looking dashboard or report. I'm looking for someone, like, the best interview we ever had. It was actually with Dan, who still works for us. Got him through you, actually. There you go. Little plug.
Great man.
Yeah. Good hire. He went through my Strava data set. He went through it with a fine-tooth comb and he's like, I saw this one activity where the description was that you strapped your Garmin to your kid when you went for a walk. Do you want me to include that in the report? I was like, no, probably not. I don't need that in the report. No one else ever asked me that. And there was multiple of these things that he went through and he was just curious about. And he comes from a martial arts and karate background. He doesn't run or ride necessarily as much as I do. So even though his domain knowledge, let's say, in the Strava side of things wasn't there, he was still really curious about it and then could communicate back in terms of what he was looking at and what he found.
Yeah, the curiosity and the questions comes through as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. That's good. That's good feedback for anyone else doing technical assessments. I see a technical assessment issued, and someone just brings it back at the end of the week.
Oh, it's the worst. I get that all the time. I'm like, yeah, do you want to do this technical assessment? They're like, yeah, okay. And then, okay, great. So we're going to first have a client meeting where I'm your client and you're going to ask me a bunch of questions and I want you to understand what the assignment is and da-da. And we'll have that meeting and it'll be 5 minutes long. And they'll say, so what do you want? And I'll be like, I want a Strava dashboard and I want to understand, my kilometers ridden and calories burnt, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, when do you need it by? Next week? Okay, thanks, bye. I'm like, all right. And I have no idea what I'm going to get back. It's absolute coin flip. And generally, sorry to say, it's generally pretty crap because they just haven't understood what I need or what's important to me or talk through the data or taking me on the journey.
When you're building BI dashboards, I guess going into the client work as well, what does good look like as you develop a dashboard? Is it every week you have a touch point? Hey, we've developed this so far. Is this matched? Is it a really long, in-depth process that you have for discovering what the key metric is? What's your process there? What does the good look like?
Well, I guess we always kick off with a scoping meeting just to understand the general direction. But then, good looks like multiple touch points a day with the client. Almost, definitely a 1 hour, once a week scheduled meeting, which is a non-negotiable for us with all of our clients. But especially in the early days when you've started with something, the concept, we say, okay, I want to understand our people, what a people and culture dashboard that shows number of employees and turnover and labor type and blah, blah. Okay, we built lots of those before. We understand kind of what you need there. But every day is saying, okay, I'm going to build this page. This is what it's going to show. Are you happy with that? Yes. Okay, great. Build out a couple of visuals, calculations. This is how I'm calculating the number of employees. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Okay, great. This is how I've determined the number of subcontractors you have on site. Okay, almost validating and checking everything along the way multiple times a day to bring the client on the journey and have that constant communication going.
And what, you ping them on Teams or an email?
Yeah, generally Teams or whatever. And some clients are really great at getting back to us straight away and they're almost, they're really engaged in it. Others might take a little bit longer, but we kind of find that pretty quickly we'll fall into the cadence that the client likes to work at. We always want to start off faster and more communication, the better in the beginning.
And do you think that's pretty much the same as what someone would do within industry, within a business as well?
Yeah, if you're a manager, you're building stuff for your manager or a stakeholder in the business, same thing.
So set up the process, regular meetings, communication, daily, you think?
Yeah. Because, many of our clients will have a daily stand-up for the first month. And I think what it does is it fosters that engagement, that ownership, that shared purpose and goal along the way.
Switching lens.
Okay.
If I've been a BI developer full-time for the last 10 years, I'm really good at what I do. I'm curious and I can communicate very well. What's my transition to starting a consultancy? I'm very strong at BI. Develop lots of dashboards, center of excellence.
Yeah, great.
I want to start working for myself and go through that. Let's have multiple contracts. But I'm a little bit scared of the risk. And also the consistency of work. Do I need to get a client and then quit, or do I just quit and go, I'll figure it out from there?
I guess that depends on your risk appetite, really. and the amount of savings you've got. Both can work.
If you've got a 6-month-old, really good time.
Yeah,
really
that's
good time.
right. That's right. I mean, I'm kind of a burn the boats kind of person. Like, it's always been my approach. So it's kind of what I did. But I think, as long as you manage the downside, like, I mean, if you're in data in this day and age, like, there's always going to be a job for you somewhere. Like, and as an employee with 10 years experience, like, you're going to be in demand. You talk to Doug will find you something. Like, just, there's really not much to lose. And so I'd say just go for it and, have a leap of faith and contact your entire network and everybody you've ever met or ever known on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, and let them know what you're doing, and that'll probably be enough to get you started.
And go from there. You have a service offering, you have an offer, or is it, hey, I'm going to build you an insane BI dashboard?
I mean, that's all it needs to be.
Keep it simple?
Yeah, that's right. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
But then when the first employee hire, is that when you've got too much work, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's probably either when the pipeline, well, I'd say that's a tough one. Yeah, probably like your first employee should be when you've got too much work.
You're doing 60-hour weeks.
Yeah, or you're having to push back on clients or whatever.
Good problem to have.
Yes, that's right.
Is there anything else you want to share with the Inner Join audience, or any messages to budding data analysts, engineers, data scientists?
I guess I'll just use that same message again. It's just be curious, communicate well, communicate often, and that should be enough.
And burn the boats.
Burn the boats.
Perfect. That sounds great.
That's right.
Well, Jacob, Gemcutter Analytics Hammer.
Yes.
Thank you for being the second guest of Industry Inner Join.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Doug. It's been